I've been thinking, I want you to be happier, I want you to be happier. When the morning comes and we see what we've become, in the cold light of day we're a flame in the wind, not the fire that we begun. Every argument, every word we can't take back, 'cause with all that has happened I think that we both know the way that the story ends. Then only for a minute I want to change my mind, 'cause this just don't feel right to me. I wanna raise your spirits, I want to see you smile, but no, that means I'll have to leave. No, that means I'll have to leave. Lately I've been thinking, I want you to be happier, I want you to be happier. When the evening falls and I'm left there with my thoughts, and the image of you being with someone else, well, it's eating me up inside. But we ran our course, we pretended we're okay. Now if we jump together, at least we can swim far away from the wreck we made. Then only for a minute I want to change my mind, 'cause this just don't feel right to me. I wanna raise your spirits, I want to see you smile, but no, that means I'll have to leave. No, that means I'll have to leave. Lately I've been thinking, I want you to be happier, I want you to be happier. So I'll go, I will go. So I'll go, I will go. Lately I've been thinking, I want you to be happier, I want you to be happier. Even though I might not like this, I think that you'll be happier, I want you to be happier. Then only for a minute I want to change my mind, 'cause this just don't feel right to me. I wanna raise your spirits, I want to see you smile, no, that means I'll have to leave. No, that means I'll have to leave. Lately I've been thinking, I want you to be happier, I want you to be happier. So I'll go, I will go.
Namaskar and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you all to the World Peace Summit 2021. We'll start with our traditional auspicious lamp lighting ceremony as a tribute to Goddess Saraswati, though virtually. Join us to invoke the blessings with all humility.
Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah. Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah. Shatru buddhi vinashaya deepajyotirnamostute. Deepajyotirnamostute. Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah.
Thank you, everyone. Shubham karoti kalyanam arogyam dhana sampada shatru buddhi vinashaya deepa jyoti namastute. It means I fold my hands before the light that brings prosperity, auspiciousness, good health, abundance of wealth, and destruction of the enemy's intellect. On behalf of Skills Reform, 3H Companion, and all other organizations who collaborated to weave this beautiful necklace of peace and harmony, a month long initiative to discuss and deliberate the true essence of peace. I welcome you all today to this forum with our eminent guest speakers from Pan India. I'm sure each one of us will have something meaningful to take away. Join me in welcoming the mind behind this Peace Summit, Mrs. Chanchal Bhargav, and her initiative of 3H Companion. 3H Companion is an organization aimed at helping and guiding individuals as if answering their problems about work, life skills, and management with 3H, that is head, heart, and hand. It does not teach, just live it thoughts, and the intensity changes others. Love, respect, patience, good laws, and fair justice are the best instrument. It believes in working together and succeeds with integrity, develops education by empowering students, parents, and teachers socially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and professionally through workshops, sessions, and training programs with a vision to create passion with compassion and more smiles. In 2007, it stepped with almost 50 members who want to learn, sing, and rock beyond books in 3 months to develop personal and spiritual skills with a mission each one, teach one. It has now risen to thousands, each member from a different place and profession, made it a big contribution in the field of humanity to create a difference in self and other lives. With constant feedback and inspiration, socially and globally on social sides, it seems as if the world is its family with connections, cultivation, and contribution. Our learnings are beyond books and syllabus. We enjoy learning everywhere from games to cinema, outings, and visiting balwaris to bring smiles to them. Learning with music, mime, and dance are used as therapies. Games like carom and snakes and ladders are enjoyed to learn perspectives, leadership, and management skills. We prefer to connect rather than simply contact. That's the ideology of 3H Companion. And now I introduce to you the mind behind Chanchal Bhargav. You learn a motivational speaker, teacher, trainer, psychological counselor, a blogger, and spiritual wellness coach. She enjoys her passion as a communicator, helping and guiding individuals about work, life skills, and management with 3H, that is head, heart, and hand. She has worked with 500 plus people online on youth mentorship, emotional intelligence, women empowerment, leadership management skills, say no to stress, depression, and suicidal attempts, and organized various events like Education to Civilization, Vidambana, art exhibition, and many more. Udan, as a career guidance project, Students Ki Pathshala, Skills Development, and Wings of Women are the some upcoming projects of hers. She develops education in rural areas of Bundelkhand with an NGO and envisages a virtual mini university for overall growth and holistic development of all individuals with human values, freedom, and creative ideology. A national and international awardee, she believes getting a space or place in every heart is the best award. For her, life is a Wi Fi connection, somewhere weak, somewhere strong. The only need is to stay connected, which is very prevalent, which is very, very useful at this present time. Her articles and messages are published in some of the famous magazines like Window to the Future, Wednesday Times, and Spiritual Connect Inter Reflections. She firmly believes in human empowerment and power of love to raise and rise, embracing all with 3H, 3A's, and 3C's to laugh, express, raise, and march with the purpose of spreading peace and happiness across the globe. I request Chanchalji to address the Zoom gathering here and share her pearls of wisdom. Over to you, ma'am. You, you can unmute yourself.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Audible.
It's okay. Thanks a lot, Chetnaji, for your wonderful frame of words. I'm deeply touched and honored. My namaste and Hare Krishna to all eminent speakers and our audience as well, whomsoever is present here. All are welcome to this World Peace Summit, Rest in Peace versus Live in Peace. Peace begins with a smile, and every smile begins with a positive thought, happiness, elation, appreciation, recognition. But what if my colleague, sibling, relative, friend gets more than me? Or if I can't get up to my expectation? Have you noticed that a bronze medalist is generally happier than a silver medalist at the end of game? It's not incidental, but proven fact in many research studies. After studying reactions of silver medalists versus bronze medalists, ideally, silver medalists should be happier than bronze, but human mind doesn't work like mathematics. This happens because of phenomenon of counterfactual thinking. It is a concept of psychology in which there is human tendency to create possible alternatives to life events that have already happened. That would be contrary to what happened. Silver medalist thinks, oh, I couldn't win the gold medal. But on the other hand, bronze medalist thinks, at least I got a gold medal. At least I got a medal. Silver medal is won after losing, but bronze medal is won after winning. See the difference. And this happens daily in our life too. We don't appreciate what we have, but always feel sad for what we don't have. You might be thrilled over a 5% raise at work until you learn that your colleagues down the hall earned a 10% raise. Let's be grateful. Be grateful for our things, our possessions, our blessings. They far our strength. We can weigh our problems only when we start counting our blessings. It is easy to overcome all the problems coming to your way. So be grateful. Don't indulge in the what if. What if? Just be contented and stay blessed forever. Today we have here a number of skill reformers, and I heard about skills, interest, and career. That if we practice our interests, they become skills. And if these skills are practiced, they become our career. Would like to know from all my panelists here that how do they think about this concept? Thank you. Thank you, Chetna ji. Once again, to entire skill reform team. Let's begin with our panelists now.
Thank you. We come now to formally begin with our agenda of discussing peace in the light of empowerment and upskilling of millions of youth. In Sanskrit, the term Shanti is used for peace. The word's literal meaning is peaceful, non-violent, calm, or undisturbed. It denotes abstention from mental and physical violence and disturbances. It is a virtue under which some sentiments is to be removed from the mind instead of generating some sentiment in the mind. It is to bring the refusal of violent feelings from mind and violent activities from life. The word yoga is derived from the Sanskrit root yud, meaning to join or to yoke or to unite. As per our yogic scriptures, the practice of yoga leads to the union of individual consciousness with that of the universal consciousness, indicating a perfect harmony between the mind and body, man and nature. Allow me to introduce our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Piyush Goyal, known as Grandmaster Piyush. Started his yogic journey many years ago after his official sannyas from corporate world, and he has worked under highly proficient teachers and gurus in the field from Mysore, Pondicherry, and Bangalore. His core expertise areas are international yoga programs, adhyatma research and spirituality, astrology and related science. Certified as a Grandmaster Hatha Yoga by Yoga Alliance International, he was conferred with honorary doctorate in Astana Yoga with specialization in divinity and Hatha Yoga for his contribution in the field of yoga in 2019 by a renowned organization, University of Bangalore. As the president of Trinetra Yoga South Asia, he has taught and certified more than 200 international yoga teachers who are functioning as international yoga coaches in different parts of the world, including Indian subcontinent. As an author, he began his journey with his first book known as Hinduism to Management in November 2020. Grandmaster Piyush has the vision to train thousands and millions of souls to spread the message of peace on a worldwide scale for enhancing world health. And with his brief introduction, I invite Dr. Goyal to share his views on today's topic of rest in peace versus life in peace. Are we upskilling enough? Over to you, Dr. Piyush.
Namaskar from Dr. Piyush Goyal from Bangalore, founder of Trinetra Yoga Asia Pacific. Pranam to everyone. Bharat Mata ki Jai. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shiv Shambhu. Jai Ma Durga. I'm sure you all are in best of your health. So at the onset, let me show my love and gratitude to all of you for having me here and for being there with your valuable presence for this amazing program of World Peace Summit, sorry, uh, where we are going to talk about live in peace as compared to rest in peace. It's important to live in peace, live with peace. And secondly, are we upskilling enough? In present scenario, in today's world, are we upskilling enough? So these are the two major points. Let's understand first, there's a catch-22 situation as of now. I don't have peace because I don't have quality skill sets and a good work in my life. I do not have a good work and quality skill set because I do not have peace in my life, and vice versa. So, catch 22 situation, I don't have one because I don't have the other one. The reason is we are in a fast paced environment, fast paced world, which is mostly, which is primarily driven by revenue, money, name, fame, desires. Everything is fine to earn money, to make asset, to create assets, to have mission and vision in life. It's most important. Everyone should have. You and me, we all must have it. But in due course of time, what happens is we forget the inner self, we forget the inner joy, the inner happiness, the inner being, the true consciousness that we have. So there are two things, self realization and the worldly realization. I wouldn't want to be too philosophical about it. We must first understand what do you mean by skill set. We all need peace. We all understand what is peace. But what do you mean by skills? What I understand as a yogi, as an astrologer, as a writer, author of a book, skill skills are high-end strategies backed by knowledge which are either inbuilt in us or acquired through training and development mechanisms in and around us. And the result and the outcome of those skills has to be soothing physiologically, psychologically, mentally, socially, financially, emotionally. That means the quality of skill sets that I possess or I have is directly proportional to the amount and the quality of peace I have in my life. We all must agree that, we would have seen such individuals in life wherein they have huge asset and crores of money in their life, crores, but they don't have peace. People are too successful in their job, extremely successful in their career, but somehow they are not happy. Even after earning millions of money, having three houses, four cars, and so on and so forth, they are not happy. There can be two reasons. Either they possess the right skill set, but they are not able to use the skill set in a way which will be in harmony with their peace. The second reason, the second thing can be they are in rat race, and most of us are. Most of the people are in rat race. अरे चलो उसने वो किया तो मैं भी कर लेता हूँ. आज से 20 साल पहले जब हमने एमबीए किया था तो सबको देखा एमबीए कर रहे हैं, हमने भी कर लिया. फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग, था ऑब्जेक्टिव कुछ दिमाग में कि एमबीए करना है, बड़े शहर में जाना है. बैंगलोर आया मैं, वी ऑल डिड अवर एमबीए प्रोग्राम, बट वी डिडंट हैड अ क्लियर objective in life. What do you want to do? I wanted to become a national head and a vice president. I was in my previous roles. But was that my inner self? Was that my end objective of my life? So when our skill sets, or first I need to understand what kind of person I am. When I know my inner self, my true self, and then I compare my true self, my capacity, my capability, my peace quotient with my skill sets, and I see the outcome. I need to compare everything. Am I really getting happiness in what I'm doing now? Money, asset, everything is okay. That we all need, right? I'm sorry. But we all need to understand what is that we are looking for. For example, the quality of skills, the quality of work that you do has to give you happiness, along with other normal parameters, which we all need. The world is driven by those parameters. We all need money to sustain, we need money, we need a house to live in, we need clothes, food, shelter, bank balance. Everything is okay. There is no doubt about it. I can give you an example of what can be the potential negative impact it can leave to our peace if we are not having the right skill set, or we are not upgrading our skill set to get maximum positive outcome, to optimize the outcome. Actually, psychologically it affects us. So many corporate professionals I've seen, they feel like victim, they feel like prey in the morning, like some predator is going to come and attack them. When they come back home, they're in the same mental state, because the kind of work they are doing is not giving them happiness. Either they were forced after their education in the corporate, or they have forced themselves, assuming that I may derive peace from this job. Financially and emotionally, you're not with the organization completely when you know your true self. And for example, I've seen a person in my past when the person was part of operations department in some of the organization. I cannot name that. The person was shifted to the sales department without having any training, without being trained in sales parameter. And the person performed but didn't perform well. Mentally, emotionally, financially, it was not viable for him as well as for the organization. In operation days, the person was making like 7 to 8 lakh rupees bonus a year. The person was not even able to fetch about 1 lakh rupees when he was shifted to sales. This is just an example I gave you. Do not just go with my example. I'm saying we have to live in the present moment, understand who I am, what's my role, who I am, what I'm doing here, and where will I go and how. These three questions, if we understand who I am, this is me, this is my capacity, this is my skill, this is where I stand now. What I'm doing, what exactly I'm doing right now, I need to analyze. And where will I go and how? Where exactly I want to go? What's my objective? 10 years down the line. If I match everything and connect everything, I'll go places and I'll be happy. That's where we lack. So, being a founder of my school, Trinetra Yoga, which is an internationally affiliated school, and author of a book called Hinduism to Management, wherein I have mentioned all these aspects. How do we develop physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, financially? I would say get into wellness. The wellness, yoga. Yoga means connecting mind, body, and soul. The mind, body, and soul has to be connected with the help of meditation that enhances your biological age by 15 years, reduces absenteeism by almost 90%, increases your productivity by 520%. That makes yoga makes your body flexible, makes detoxifies you. The philosophical aspects of yoga cleanses your soul and mind. It changes your belief system, the way you think and talk to others or to feel whatever you feel in your life. Overall, what do we want? Irrespective of our job, we want highest of productivity and least of absenteeism, mentally and physically. That is what we want in Kali Yuga, in today's world, in this fast-paced environment. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you all for being here and bless my school, Trinetra Yoga, www.trinetra.yoga. Bless me, bless my book, Hinduism to Management. And I'm sure I'll be able to serve you. मैं आपकी सेवा किसी भी प्रकार से मैं कर पाया तो मुझे गर्व होगा. लास्ट में my sincere gratitude and love, affection and support to Miss Chetna for making me, for giving me this wonderful opportunity of speaking as a keynote speaker and giving me 10 to 11 minutes of my time to share my thoughts with all of you. Thanks and big gratitude to Chetna and Skill Reforms and to all of you. Thank you so much. Namaste.
And now allow me to welcome and introduce to you a wonderful and diverse panel of educationists, industry experts, and training experts from different parts of India. Starting with Ms. Archita Tatia, a native of Jodhpur, Rajasthan, with her yearning to create a school that would free children from the kind of conditioning present in some states in India. She, along with her parents, late Mr. and Mrs. Doshi, founded the Alma Mater School. Along her journey of growing into becoming the force behind the systems implemented in the school, she has to her credit many courses. She has updated herself with the most notable being the Harvard course. The institute has been instrumental in providing the city a space where children experience a confluence of Western and Indian philosophies. Welcome to you, Ms. Archita. Looking forward to hear to you. Uh, yeah. Next, we have Mr. Varda Murthy KS. Is an internationally certified leadership and success coach, CLC and CEC, from one of the highly reputed training institutions in the United States, accredited by International Coach Federation. He's also affiliated with Certified Coach Alliance, is keen to help people unleash their true potential and make a difference. He loves to work with youth, teacher educators, budding entrepreneurs to guide them to become high performing contributors. He is passionate in helping people unleash their true potential through life transforming coaching, certification, and personal excellence programs, where the main focus will be on skill development for results. He works very closely with the management institutes, youth, teaching, and students community entrepreneurs. A thought leader with over 25 years of professional experience in the area of human resources and education services, working both in India and abroad. Mr. Varada continuously strives to build people and help them becoming high performance contributors. He and his team have trained and coached over 50,000 people that include corporate employees and government employees, teachers, college faculty members, youth schools, and college students on leadership skills, presentation skills, goal settings, effective communication skills, and on various employability skills. Good evening and namaskar, Mr. Varda, and I welcome you to this panel. Next, we have Ms. Amrita S. Dudia. He is a leading mind coach, academician, and a keynote speaker who is best known for inspiring people to become the best version of themselves. For over 15 years, impacting more than 10,000 lives, she has been closely working with administrative, police, and judicial officers with colleges, professionals, corporates, and business houses as well. And her techniques dramatically improve happiness, confidence, career success, personal relationships, work life balance, and income. A TEDx speaker, National Excellence Award winner, Western India Chair at International Chamber for Service Industry, National Chairperson for Youth Counseling and Career Guidance at an international community based organization spread over 95 countries, and as behavior analyst with Police Committee on Protection of Women Against Harassment and Police Commission Committee on Peace. She firmly believes you are the only one thought away from perfect happiness. Enlightens knows no time frame. I welcome you, Amrita, to this panel. And last but not the least, Mr. Chetan Khurana, co-founder of Skills Reform, innovator and entrepreneur with 14 years in media, consulting, and education, experienced in various aspects of business strategy, formation, operations, and management, with a major focus on business execution excellence. He is an active listener, initiator, and problem solver, using creativity, resourcefulness, and assets to break down and overcome business sustainability and later work with different organizations to successfully putting these ideas in execution. With a focus on bridging the skills gap and transforming lives, he has mentored 1,000 plus students and helped various entrepreneurs in idea execution, reaching the revenue stage and raising funds. So, with this diverse panel, I welcome you all to this invigorating discussion on rest in peace versus live in peace. Are we upskilling enough? And I would like to start with Ms. Archita. Your perspective on today's topic specific to instilling right values and skills in the school system. Over to you, Ms. Archita.
A very good evening to all the very esteemed listeners and enlightened and a very good, for this band of panelists here. When I look at, uh, you know, when I look at
Yeah, ma'am, you can carry on. Ms. Archita, you are unmute. You have to unmute yourself.
yes,
Yeah, please do that.
I'm sorry, just there was some network glitch. Yes. So when we look at the school as a space where one comes to attain education, but when we look at the word education, what do we understand from the word education? Education is basically looking at mind and body, because these are the two major components on which our entire, life is based. So, education means training your mind to be empathetic, to be sensitive, to be compassionate, to appreciate, to be understanding towards the people and the environment around you, to be one of a very strong management of crisis, and definitely to have a great heart of gratitude within you. Yes, and you use this mind to finally train your body to be aware, to be strong, to be agile, and finally support your mind to work well. Yes. So if this word education is strongly understood, it means peace. It means caring. It means taking care of the environment around you and amongst the where you are, working, where you are living, among the people that you are with. So I believe that education is peace. Yes, Chetna.
Much. Okay. Thank you so much for your, starting thoughts for this session. My next question is to Mr. Varadamurthy. Your perspective on today's topic in the light of developing a curriculum for educators, parents, and students on equipping with life skills. How do you feel about it, and how a peace education as a part of it can be taken forward from here? Dr. Varda?
Yeah, good evening, Chetna ji. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, yes, you're very much audible.
Okay. So, first of all, congratulations to Chanchal and team, and of course to you and your entire team for putting together this summit. It's a wonderful initiative, I must say. Coming back to rest in peace versus live in peace, right? Or living in peace. Now, establishing lasting peace is the work of education, as said by Dr. Maria Montessori way back in 1936, if I remember. Now, to realize peace, to realize rather world peace, nurturing child's inner peace is utmost important. Now, how do we do that? So I'm trying to connect that with the skills, the life skills that you focus on here. Now, let's look at the challenges that children face today in classroom or in schools or institutions. They have unique challenges, starting from bullying to drugs abuse to peer pressure, parental pressure on performing, and sometimes the political, and of course now due to pandemic uncertainty over their own examination. So how, and education should be the solution provider to help them cope up with these unique challenges. Now, how do we do that? Example, see, there are so many pressure that, the children go through a lot of pressure in classroom. So one of the examples that I would give, I would like to connect with that, a real example. In fact, it has happened in front of my eyes. Once a son and a father were playing in a court, in a club, table tennis. Now, what has happened in the beginning, son said, I will defeat you, to the father. And father said, with a smile, it's okay, fine. So they played, and there was a good fight, and finally the son lost game. Can you guess what he has done? How he would have reacted? Can anybody guess how he would have reacted? He couldn't take that disappointment, having lost the game. He couldn't control his emotions. He just went behind, and on the wall there was a cockroach. He threw that cockroach, and he just ensured that the cockroach fell on the ground, and then he just stopped it. Can you imagine why he has done? And when we talk about skills, and of course, unfortunately, the education, current education system focuses more on academic performance than helping them to cope up with these challenges than helping them to prepare for life. And I advocate strongly that education should be for life. Education should be more meaningful. Education should be more purposeful. And it is so important that we instill certain life skills and certain essential skills at an early age, that is say 0 to 7 years. And Chanchal earlier spoke about 3H approach. I strongly advocate that 3H approach, heart, head, and hand. And also 0 to 7 years is the early years where we call it as the willingness stage. And willingness stage, children would love to do a lot of things and would love to take initiative. And it is also said that they absorb a lot. Even the languages can be taught during that age. So all those things are critical that we equip them with to face the challenges of life later. Otherwise, what happens now? You have excellent marks, and unfortunately, they run behind the rat race. So focus is on scoring marks. But what do you do with that marks if you can't handle a setback, a failure, a disappointment? So we must help them, with that resilient advantage. And I must advocate that even parents should be part of this education. We must involve parents. Probably in the next, later rounds, I will talk a little more about how parents can be involved, or how we have involved parents in educating the children. I hope that I made some sense. Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely it makes all the sense, because I think peace or education or any kind of life skills is not just the responsibility of the schools, teachers, or the coaches. It's the responsibility of every possible citizen. And we also learn from our students also on day-to-day, in day-to-day life. Thank you so much for your valuable.
Absolutely.
And next I move on to Ms. Amrita. Your perspective on today's topic and top skills which are required to creating a workplace that follows peace as a sustainable development goal, because that is one of the sustainable development goal. And since you're dealing most of the time with the adults and 18 plus, so I would like to hear your views on this particular. How do you relate that either you rest in peace or live in peace in terms of as a mind coach? Over to you, Amrita, for your views. Amrita, you can unmute yourself.
Namaskar to everyone. Peace. I think that's this word is all what we crave for. Ultimately, life in this life, whatever we do, the end goal that we want is peace. Now, as a layman, in general terms, you and I, all of us, let us try to understand what really peace is. Let me narrate you a story. One day, I was not very happy with my performance. I couldn't achieve what I wanted to. And that night, I kept turning sides on the bed, thinking, where did I go wrong? What areas I need to work on? What am I feeling? My anxiousness, my irritation, and my dissatisfaction left me tired, restless. This is one day story. In another day, I achieved something that I was really proud of. That day, which I was really proud of. I was very happy. Do you think I would have slept peacefully that night? Even that night, there was a different kind of mind chatter going on. I was applauding myself. I was thinking about all the good things that I did, and the way people appreciated me, responded to me, the way I would move forward, my next step, and it went on. This time, again, it was a different kind of restlessness that kept me that made me tired. These 2 days got me into thinking that is peace a really result of converting your negative emotions into positive? Is it really about success and failure? I don't think so. Do you? I'd request, if possible, I'd request the admin to please audience the image which
Okay, I'll just share that. Sure. I hope I have that with me.
I've sent you in the mail.
Yeah, just give me a moment, and I think it's,
Yes.
yeah, it's here.
Wonderful. Yes, absolutely. Just look at this picture. You feel this person is happy and at peace. Now, I said two words, happy and at peace. I did not say happy equals peace, sadness equals no peace. Peace comes when you discompassionately visit whatever is going inside of you with curiosity and compassion. So when you have the inner critic, just laugh at your inner critic, and you can joke about his high standards. And when you are on a self-applauding spree, just give yourself the space and just observe. This is where true peace happens. Happiness, the emotions that we go through, we will go through them our entire lives. Success, failure, they are not the measurement of success. Thank you so much for this image. For true failure and success, they are no true measurement of peace. Peace truly comes when you can discompassionately view yourself. If right now you are listening to me, or at any point of time you play this video, wherever you are sitting, I urge you right now to look at your seat completely. What you do? You do this. And then I say, I want you to look at the seat completely. You cannot look at the seat completely until and unless you get up from the seat, walk a distance, and then look at the chair or whichever place you're sitting. Yes? That is when this is how you truly open your mind. You are able to look at things. You can look at things in a broader perspective. You feel more empowered. You have more choices, and that's when you experience peace. So a small, a very brief on peace from my side. Over to you, Chetna, madam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amrita. And as I promise my audience that you will listen to Amrita and you will be enlightened enough as a truly young mind coach. Thank you so much for your words. And I'm receiving a lot of compliments for you on the chat. So thank you so much. And we'll keep on sharing your views also later. Last but not the least, our another panelist, Mr. Chetan. So over to you for your perspective and thoughts on today's theme of upskilling, the youth on peace using education as a medium. Over to you, Mr. Chetan. Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much, Chetna, for inviting me to this discussion. And I'm sure there is a lot that I will learn from all the esteemed speakers here. This topic is quite unique. And my analogy is, if I live in peace, then only I can rest in peace. So there is no versus for me. These two things are directly proportional to each other. And I will try to make it equal during my lifetime. Now, if I will look back at our culture and education system, since ancient times, we have been focusing on holistic development. it was never about imparting scripted knowledge. So it was all about involving your body, mind, and soul, and elevating it further to attain your full potential. So we certainly need retrospection, introspection, and we should try to incorporate required changes in our current education system to create a future ready to recruit cohort, those who are tethered to moral, ethical, and spiritual values of our own culture, which is certainly a part of this 3H, heart, hand, and hand. So this is from my side. And Chetna, during this pandemic, COVID-19, we all have learned our lessons. The lesson I learned during this period is first to be resilient, and second, achieve realistic awareness of self. So when things change inside you, things change around you. And the change that I, in my capacity, am trying to bring around me through our education platform, Skills Reform. And we are fortunate enough that we got this opportunity to bring that impact and transform millions of lives by mentoring, skilling, reskilling, upskilling these wonderful people, especially the future workforce of our country, on important skills, adversity, agility, adaptability, which are important skills to adopt and help you learn to achieve your own peace. So we are trying to, go for this amalgamation of our ancient system with current and future requirements. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chetan. I think you have added well to what Amrita said, and it is about the responsibility of each of us to do so, starting from within to the world. That is what. Mr. Varada, next question is to you. As a leadership coach, how do you ensure that educators, parents, and students learn the true essence of peace right from kindergarten? And I would love to hear a few examples here from you, like when you coach them, when you train them, especially the parents, because in at this point of time when it's been 13 months, the schools are closed, and especially the younger ones are not able to come to the school. So how can we teach peace or use it as a skill to empower them? So over to you, Mr. Varda. If you could unmute yourself.
All right, am I audible now?
Yeah, right, you are.
Okay, great. Well, very good question. First, the peace to me is like, finding peace amidst challenges, amidst noises, amidst many things, going around us. Now, you asked a specific question, relating to a kindergarten, of course, children, parents, and other stakeholders in the school. Now, to me, when we talk about preschools, for example, 0 to 7 years, early years schooling, child, if you look at child, is firstly a human being, and child is a spiritual being as well, and child is also a material being. We cannot take anyone away from this. Now, we need to address all these three. If you miss one, then education becomes imbalanced. Now, to address them and to help them equip with essential skills, to find peace, the only thing that I could think of, or we could think of as a company, is a well-defined, a well-structured curriculum that focuses on holistic development, holistic approach, holistic development of a child. So there comes a whole lot of things. Now, of course, involving parents too. I will come a little later there. Otherwise, when you talk about holistic approach, now we use play as a method. Number one thing is play as a method. That's one of the challenges that we face during pandemic is now we are restricting the movement of a child. Now, for a child, movement is key. Movement creates focus, and movement is key for children, particularly 0 to 7 years. Now, that's one thing that we are finding it extremely difficult right now. But then we are helping parents with the curriculum, with activities where they can manage at home. Now, there are schools where you're fortunate to actually conduct in classroom session for parents. So we did a parenting session, trying to connect them with the educators and the school management, trying to help them build rapport with them because of the confusion that we have. Although we have wonderful curriculum, school has wonderful curriculum, school has interest to impart that knowledge and of course skills to children. Parents have difficulty. So, but parents were extremely happy to come to school, listen to us, and of course to the school management. So one of the things that we did is, you all know that we do circle time for children. We thought of doing a circle time. So we asked them, and all of them, came in a circle. We asked them, what do we do now? Should we teach math? Should we teach science? Should we teach language or social studies? Helping you to help your children. They said, no. Let's do some activity. And that is when we said, yes, that's exactly what happens in a classroom. Now, children, when they come to a classroom, number one thing, you don't force them, with too much of knowledge. All that they need is to play and, have their mind construct to receive. Once you do that, then they will listen, and then whatever that they receive goes into, they will be able to absorb. So one of the things that we did is a lot of activities in a circle time, getting onto a discussion, a wonderful discussion from parents where some of them had wonderful ideas, some of them were thinking of, as usual, focus on studies. But at the end of the discussion, everybody understood the importance of giving them the essential skills along with the academics, books, whatever that knowledge that we give them. And that's one example that I could relate here. But number of examples through the curriculum that we take them through, which has given a positive response to. I hope that it makes sense to all the viewers here.
Yeah, definitely. And we have received some comments, so I'll be reading that also in between so that our audience feel engaged and valued. So Mrs. Usha Shishadri has said education is becoming too competitive, creating stress in children and parents. Parents must not force kids to study what they want, but give choice to them to choose their stream, subjects, and guide them. And I think storytelling is one way which Chetan is also mentioning here, that we can do storytelling.
Yes, if I may add one thing, Chetnaji.
Yeah, please do. Go ahead.
If I may add one more thing. Yeah, with the introduction of NEP that we are all seeing that now, of course, the document is extremely good. So if that is implemented as it is that we see, I'm sure that that's going to do a lot good, to both children and of course the parent community as well.
Right. And I think somewhere we can, the morality and the ethics and all these, and it comes to, even if we are teaching them a simple activity on conflict management, it leads to some kind of a skills in peace, and they learn how to be peace at them with themselves. So that's definitely, thank you so much, Mr. Varda, for your valued views and all. So my next question would be to Amrita. Given your experience on training the adults on mindfulness, conflict management, and personal development, what challenges do you see in bringing peace as a common belief? Because I feel working with children is difficult, but working with adults is more difficult because they already have their belief and mindset. So over to you, Amrita, for your answers for this question.
Okay. So, adults, yes. Let us look at the basics first. When you are young, when you're in your teens, you are developing yourself, your body is developing, your emotional state, your mental state. So you're constantly evolving. You are used to the change. You're getting used to the change. You want to experiment things. You want to try things. By the time you reach an adult age, or probably when you are stable in life, you generally want to stick to stability. You generally want to stick to what you already have. And you're not wrong. I am not wrong. If I think in that ways, I am not wrong completely. Why? Because it takes, when you have made a lot of effort to achieve something in life, it's very difficult to let it go. That's pure logic. But unfortunately, the era that we are living in, stability is far from reality. What we need is a flexible mindset, is a flexible mindset and huge reserves for emotional balance. Now, what happens? Basic problem which I face while training. Not problem. I shouldn't be saying the word problem. A challenge when I mind train adults is the openness, the receptivity, and the mental flexibility. This is something that I face. And I think this is what we need to work on. Why? Why? Let me give you one example. Let me give you one example and let me present before you rather one logic. And I think it should be clear. In this era, when biotechnology and artificial intelligence is taking over, it is directing our brains, it is calculating our minds, our likes and dislikes. It's very, very important to have a command over your operating system. Let's listen it through an example. Amazon. Amazon knows what you would want. Advertising company. What is the cosmetic industry? They make you believe something which you may not. They understand, they read your brain, they try to understand the algorithm, they create a scarcity inside your mind, inside your heart, and they say, buy this. They make you dependent on it. Human 2.0, we are. Artificial intelligence is bound to flourish, but it is important for us to understand that let us not become the slave for artificial intelligence. Stability is far from reality. You need to have an agile mindset. You need to understand your operating system, where you need to know what I want and what I do not want. If the algorithms, if the machine learning, if biotechnology, just imagine if biotechnology starts ruling this part of our brain, what a disaster it would be. We've already started. My PhD studies are in experiential marketing, and that's what our work is, to understand what you are thinking, to understand how you would feel about a certain thing, trigger the emotion and make you do, get you into an action what I want to. One major thing that we all need to understand as adults, that we need to keep keep mental flexibility, and that is where the peace will come. We may feel that being flexible or being constantly on the run, being always changing, being always adapting is not stability. No, I think these both terms complement each other. When you go with the flow of life, when you start upgrading yourself, that's where you have the true peace. You are peaceful here. Nobody else is commanding you. Your operating system is in your hands and it's not of the public or maybe a group or the outsider. So this is one prominent point I would want all of us to consider. Thank you.
So much, Amrita. And I think you rightly said that it's about the flexibility and agility of our mind or mindsets, and that's what we do at Skills Reform basically. People do not actually think that growth mindset is something which can be taught, which can be actually adapted to, which can be, and I think this pandemic has given us enough reasons to do so, that you do not limit yourself with your capabilities. That's what we all need to do. And once we have this kind of a growth mindset, so I think we'll be able to pass it on to our future generations also. And hopefully we will pass from this pandemic with a lot of peace and harmony. That's what I believe, and I pray all the time, because it's a difficult time for all of us. Ms. Archita, my next question to you, continuing from here, as she said that it's a difficult situation and the challenges which she faced with the adults. How do you think that, I mean, peace is just not about the absence of violence or conflict? I feel so. And it's about expressing and imbibing the right skills at the right age. So, how do you think schools could create a curriculum that enhances these values? You call it a virtue, skill, or value, whichever way you want to define it. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Cheta. Something very beautiful said by Amrita, something very lovely and something very enlightening shared by Mr. Murthy. Yes, and unfortunately, we could not hear what Mr. Dr. Piyush had to say. But you know, when you put all these pieces of puzzle together, you realize that the initial age of a child, that is in the, you know, if you break uh, the age of a human being according to the four ashrams of our Hindu culture, the Brahmacharya ashram is still 16 years or some 17 years of age roughly. That is the formative learning stage of a human being, where you can, you know, उसको किसी भी एक कच्ची मिट्टी होती है जिसको किसी भी जिस शेप में हम चाहें वैसे ढाल सकते हैं. So if the learning age, the formative years are strongly taken care of by all the schools, all the institutes, any adult who's taking care of the younger ones, then all these challenges that we are facing, all the success and failures that we are talking about will all fizzle off. But you know, when is the it is the time for us to actually, जब उस घड़े को shape देने का time समय होता है, we are all busy in shaping our careers. It's so true. So what we are trying to do is we take the responsibility of giving birth to a child, but we are just leaving the responsibility to the society, to the world, to any, you know, very high, what do you say, a very, you know, school which has had got a very high, a very good infrastructure. Go there and I am relieved from my duties. So here I would want education to become a peace factor in the life of the parents themselves as the first thing. Secondly, the teachers. Most of the institutes, the teachers are not being trained appropriately to take care of the younger ones. It's okay, open a book, open this chapter, let's begin reading. That's a most, you know, uniform and a conventional approach of working. Rather, it should be that, okay, for example, if I have a grade, you know, 7th or 8th standard or 10th standard child, and I would want to teach them the chapter in history, that it's, we are going to learn modern history or world war, then to bring them to this connect that, okay, let's watch today's news. And it is talking about a big strife, a lot of rivalry happening in the Middle East. Yes. Why do you think this is happening? What is causing it? An unbiased opinion the youth has to form about the things that are happening around them. When you talk about that broadly, and then you come towards it, you know, some kind of some strife that is happening in your country, and relate to it. Yes. And make them feel connected. Okay, this is this part of the world and this is my country, this is same thing is happening here, so let's evaluate it, let's understand why this is happening. Okay, make the learning more purposeful rather than fact driven. Make the learning more, you know, there is a very, I, you know, believe in Simon Sinek a lot. He has professed a beautiful model of begin everything with a why. So when I met Chetna, when she told me that she wants me to join this thing also, I triggered myself. I asked myself, why do I want to be here? Yes. And then I came to understand, came with this thought that no, I want to share with everybody around that how education plays a strong role to create peace. So as I was talking about the curriculum that I was sharing, if I begin my world history chapter by connecting them with the things that are happening around the world and bring them to a decision making situation, that okay, this leader is doing the right thing, this leader is not doing the right thing, these are the circumstances in front of him, they are able to evaluate the situation, they are able to understand why a particular scenario of rivalry or strife is there. Then they are able to become good decision makers. Yes. And when they are able to become good decision makers, and they are able to choose between the right and the wrong, then come what may, they will ensure that they are on the right path. They will ensure that they are bold enough to face the world, but be on the right track. That is something that we hope to initiate, at least in the formative years. Whereas what we are focusing more on is, what is the percentage you're getting? if you are getting this much percentage, then finally you will go to this college. Ultimately, the entire picture that is portrayed in front of a child is इतना परसेंटेज आएगा तो इस कॉलेज में एडमिशन मिलेगा, इस कॉलेज में एडमिशन मिलेगा तो इस वाले एमएनसी जॉब में आपको चूज किया जाएगा. एंड फाइनली दैट इज money has become, or a high post has become the criteria of education, which, as Mr. Vardhamurthy also shared, is not right. We need to educate ourselves. We need to educate ourselves as to what education is, as to what is needed in today's world. Nobody wants strife, but there is strife because of very, very poor decision making. I would also like to add here that when you just show one side of the coin to the child, okay, for example, if I talk about Indian history and I just share that, okay, Britishers were coming and ruling us, that is just one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that we allowed ourselves to be ruled. There was a lot of how will I put it, there was a lot of I want to be the ruler, so I'll put my brother down, or I'll put my elder person down. So this is something that is also to be portrayed in front of the children, that no, both the sides of the coin have to be equally viewed, and then you have to decide that what you want in your life. As Amrita also has shared, that it's the decision making that matters the most. And I would leave the soul part to Dr. Piyush, but I strongly focus that our mind and body should be so empathetically trained to handle situations that the world becomes a more comfortable place to step into. Then we will not be facing these kind of questions that the world has become very competitive for my child. No, it will not be like that, because people will not be running behind posts. Have you ever thought of asking your child, are you happy today? How was your day in school? But no, कितनी पढ़ाई की, क्या homework मिला, आज टेस्ट हुआ, कितने marks आए? These are the questions that are always put in front of the children when they reach home. So ultimately they also start believing that this is the world. They also start believing. They are never asked that, okay, did you meet your friend today? How was he? Did he have some trouble? Were you able to solve any of his problems? Were you able to listen to him passionately? Were you able to sit with him, spend some time? Did you meet your teacher today? If she did not come, why did she not come? I mean, no emotional quotient is there in the conversation that the adults have with children. So here, children means a child who is a 2-year-old to a teenage who is 18 years old or a 19-year-old. There is no emotional conversation. Parents don't have time. Adults don't have time for all this thing. So when this is not happening, and every time I am being pushed, कि कितना मिला है, कितना, it's only profit and loss that we are looking at. How do you expect the world to become a peaceful place when we are training our children to become more and more, more and more away from, anywhere near peace? So I think training children, training teachers, and training adults, especially young adults who have, given birth to their children, is more important rather than educating the 2-year-old, 3-year-old. They will mold according to the way we want them to. I hope I've put myself through.
No, thank you so much. And I think I've received beautiful compliments for you from all the audience. And I will request all the people who are attending this session to put your questions in the chat box, and we will take it as when it's possible for us after the session or in between the session, if I feel that, okay, this relates to the particular idea which we are discussing here. And as you rightly said, Ms. Archita, I think it's even after achieving the kind of so-called success, and we have become, I think, money oriented also somewhere, and the grade oriented, I would say that. But how do we deal with this? And we have been speaking about these at various forums, and all the educationists, all the leaders, all the spiritual leaders, even the business leaders also, I see, ultimately, whether it's Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, they talk about this, that value yourself and value the world, and success or fame or something it's secondary. That's what. So thank you so much for your inputs, and we'll continue with that. Chetan, carrying over from here only, I would like to ask you, you have worked in the corporate world also, and you have beautiful children as well. So, looking at the current scenario, even if we attain success, and when I say success, it means in name of fame, money, and social status. These three I'll categorize. So, there is a feeling of void in people, especially working in corporate or highly demanding organizations. As if you will see, right, these days, edtechs are flourishing, definitely. But how do you think this concern can be addressed when it's about the peace? I mean, inner peace or whatever you call it. I don't know how do you name it, but there is some this. How can we address this void which is being still there, kind of a languishing thing over the period of time, even like uncertainties? So, your views on that?
Um, Chetna, in current scenario, what I feel, feeling of void would be more in people, those who have lost their jobs. All other people should be happy that they're still working and earning. Jokes apart, companies have been and will always be demanding. Because there is a lot of pressure on them, like with us at Skills Reform, or maybe the schools that we are running, there is a lot of pressure which is on us in terms of achieving numbers, showing growth in top line and bottom line, and it is pervasive. It happens with most of the organizations. And I have spent half of my career working with these HR heads, CHROs, CPOs of the great organizations. And these amazing peoples are working day in and day out to infuse the most important aspect in the business, that is people. Now, when we talk about people, we automatically think about their physical, mental, financial well-being, and improving their emotional intelligence, like Ms. Archita said, so that people work well and simultaneously the organization, so that we can remove that void that we are talking about. In fact, at Skills Reform, we also customize program for organizations to bring that growth mindset and create a resilient workforce that they always want. So, and if I'm sure there would be some organization who would be working still focusing on top line and bottom line, they would certainly need an introspection, and it's a high time that they should focus on 3 P's of sustainability: people, planet, and profit. And then profit, rather, the triple bottom line that we are talking about. Generally, people should just take care of their mental health. When we talk about such void, you can get money, fame, or status once by working hard, or probably in some cases in legacy, maybe by sheer luck. But if you actually want to sustain it or grow it, then I think it should be coupled with the art of being peaceful from inside. And there are various ways to learn this. And anyone who's looking at learning it in form of yoga, meditation, can contact Dr. Piyush Goyal. So over to you, Chetna.
Chetan, for adding your beautiful views. And I think it is what matters is the 3 P's. And as we celebrated Earth Day yesterday, so we are, and looking at the situation, the breath of ours, the oxygen, which has become the uh, less to us, and that's what we have done to the planet. So definitely, and that's why there's no peace as such. But I think I'm very hopeful, and we all are hopeful about it. Definitely, Mr. Varada, I'll come back to you for the question, and this will be the last question for the panelists. I mean, each panelist I'll be asking one more question, and then we'll wrap it up. And if so, the attendees have any question to them for them, so please let me know. So, in this era of digitalization, life skills have become more of simulations. I mean, we see that edtech is all pervasive here. So, and they become family focused and virtual experiences only. So, if any family, I mean, they have a kind of a socio-economic status, so their values, their skills, their whole outlook has changed, or it is limited to that. because of the school closure. So, do you think we are losing the idea of social construct and embracing the wide expanse of peace? Little twisted question, but I think what Mr. Vada, you can answer it very well, given your experiences as a leadership
Yeah,
coach. Over to you.
yeah, I would say yes and no to this question because digitalization is happening for the last over a decade now, and it's happening. It's happening at a rapid pace, and it's going to happen even more now. I think every day we are getting new gadgets. I mean, new software and technology companies are coming up with new softwares. So the whole focus is now, how do we educate children online? Now, but I'm very positive. I'm very hopeful too that in the coming 6 to 8 months, or at the maximum, say 1 year, things would be back to normal, and then we get back to schools. So that's one thing. So then we can, we can get back to what we have lost in the last 16, 17 months. And I would say yes, because no, because particularly when we talk about early years, 0 to 7 years, two components that you should take. One is the physical well-being, and of course, all other things that the other panelists spoke very well, beautifully. The other thing, very important thing, is socio-emotional skills. Now, socio-emotional skills can't be taught to them, and that has to be experienced by them. Now, when the movement itself is restricted, it's extremely difficult for them to experience that, and that's really saddening. And I myself feel that very sad for children. That one thing which is happening at the same time is that if you look at, in our street, children used to, as I think Archita said earlier, that the whole focus is on marks, grades, and then success and corporate jobs. That's so true. But all pandemic is also done some favor to children. Now in our street, at least some 8 to 10 children come out and play in the evening, and usually they come at about 5 o'clock after school hours, 5 o'clock, and they get inside by 6:30. Latest by 6:45, once the sun sets. So that used to be the case earlier. Now, during this pandemic, children are on the street almost throughout the day, and even at night up to 8:30, 9:30, I see them, cycling on the road. That's one good thing which is happening. So because that is also important for them to get out and be with other friends, talk to them and play together and learn a lot. I advocate strongly the play as one of the methods. So that said, I'm sure that that is a good positive thing that has happened, and let's not be very negative. But I'm sure that we will be able to implement that. And as I earlier said in the beginning, it is our responsibility. It is we as educators, and of course the school management. We have a huge responsibility to ensure that we create space for children. We create space in every school, and not just the playground, but also the resource room. Through the resource room, we can teach a lot to children. I must tell you that the gadgets to children damages their brain, but if you give them authentic wooden material, it stimulates their brain, and that is what they need in classes. So I'm really hopeful, and I must tell you that, and I would request all of you to be hopeful that we certainly have better days coming, and we would like to see children, hopping around, playing, jumping with a lot of excitement and learning, and that should be the way to learn. They should love to come to school. Yep, I think I might have with that.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Bhatta. I think you said it right, that it starts from the children. And I think most, as per my experience as an educational psychologist, I feel if the childhood is happy, childhood is peaceful, so I think they turn out into a beautiful global citizens, definitely. So thank you so much for your.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and that's where we all have to work. So everyone, as a parent, as a child, as a adult, or as a working employee, so you can all contribute with your positive experience to this beautiful world to make it peaceful. And that's where even one drop in the ocean matters. That's very, very important. Amrita, my next question to you. I mean, how peace could be the central theme to train people on their mental, spiritual, and emotional health? I mean, give me one mantra which you would like to convey to all here, that, okay, this you do and you become peaceful, and the journey towards inner peace and peace outside the world starts with that mantra. Over to you, Amrita.
Okay, so one mantra.
Yes.
There's this author named wine fields. He said, to live happily, there are 6 basic natural doctors that we have. We have water, we have air, we have sunshine, we have rest, diet, and exercise. I can recall, Chetnaji, you speak about Steve Jobs, mentioning Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs replaced air and water with friends and self-confidence. If I was to ask what would be my input, it would be stillness and self-awareness. Isn't this beautiful? Stillness and self-awareness. The moment you are still, when I say still, the mind chatter here stops. See, I'll tell you one thing. As a mind coach, more than being a mind coach, the learnings that I have experienced on myself, that I've derived from my own life, our bodies are designed to heal itself. Beautiful mechanism we have. We do not heal ourselves, or we are not in the state of peacefulness only when we do not know how to train our mind. That is the time when we do not feel peace, when we do not experience peace. Rather, I should say this word. So ultimately, I think, see, okay, let us understand this through an example. If a child is born today, how old will the child be in 2050? How old will the child be in year 2050? 2930? Yes.
Yeah.
Next 50 years, what do you think? How old the child will be? And probably he or she still might be on this earth in the 22nd century. What do you think? The skill that the child is learning today in the 22nd century, will they still be relevant? What is the skill that we, all of us inculcate, imbibe today that will remain in the 22nd century, 23rd century, and till the life we have on earth? Stillness and self-awareness. That's from my side. Thank you very much, Chetnaji.
Lovely, Amrita. And I think that is what these are, the oxymorons kind of things. I mean, stillness and self-awareness. But because if you want to be self-aware, so you can't have that stillness. But I think what you said is very, very meaningful if we understand the essence of it. It's from the stillness that you start your self-awareness and you understand yourself more. So thank you so much, and thank you for keeping it short and beautiful. So yeah, so with this stillness and this self-awareness, Chetan, my next question is to you. Looking at the social consequences of unemployment, I mean, I have to talk about it because somewhere the economic piece is also very important for all of us. So is a social menace as it denies social justice and enhances social unrest by increasing the disparity between have and have nots, be it your inner peace, be it the social status, be it the money, or be it the comparison between two children, I would say that, within a family. So, what could be the best strategies, pathways to ensure that economic peace is attained? And when I say economy, it doesn't mean the money; it means everything which could be behavioral science also, which could be behavioral economy also, which could be the consumers' behavior also. So, over to you, Chetan, and I hope you'll keep it very short and sweet.
I will try to, Chetna, but looking at this question, I think it's a very powerful question. And, it took me a little time to absorb it. um, okay, so let me explain it without getting into the details about whose fault it may be in terms of inequality, unemployment, all those problems that we are facing. However, I would certainly want to discuss about this maybe with you and other panel and some other platform. Now, Let me just focus on the solution, and I'll be very happy if any one of you can want to add on later. This pandemic has exposed completely the structural weaknesses in the institution and economies and has widened the inequalities, as we all know. You know, people who were already disadvantaged have been hit particularly very, very hard. Like Mr. Verda said, 4.0, the industrial revolution. We are already at the cusp of fifth industrial revolution. And there is a growing mismatch between people's current skill and what is needed for the jobs. The disparity between rich and poor has been growing from decades. In fact, you know, today's world's richest 1% have been more than twice as much wealth as 6.9 billion people in the world. So through upskilling alone, we will certainly not solve all the wealth and social inequalities. If upskilling, innovation, and entrepreneurship initiatives are widespread and inclusive, more people can raise their productivity, and you know, they can lead to better job options. They can be job creator, creating more jobs for others, which in turn helps us to reduce wage inequalities, especially those created by the skill biased technological change, which one of our panelists has already you know, emphasized upon. So to keep it short, and to do this, however, government, industries, SMEs, startups like us, educational institutes like Alma Mater, all the other schools and colleges, we need to collaborate and work together to solve this problem. I am sure this will bring economic peace, which, yeah, definitely not an easy task to achieve. Thanks, Chetna.
Thank you so much. I was not looking for an easy answer. Definitely. I feel somewhere like with this kind of, and I would refer here to Ms. Chanchal Bhargav, that when she brought the 19 plus organizations here on this forum, and this month-long initiative has been going on since 8th April, and the topic was World Peace Summit under Rest in Peace and Live in Peace. So it was very kind of a shocking surprise that, okay, rest in peace versus live in peace, but definitely that is what it means. This whole oxymoron is basically that okay, if you really will rest in peace, if you can't live in peace, that's what the whole idea about. And you can see, when I say barter system, the economic peace could be attained by this kind of endeavors where everybody comes with their expertise, their contribution in terms of wealth, skills, experiences, and whatever resources they have, be it infrastructural resources or be it your own human resources, and that's what you build up. So thank you so much, Anchalji, for this particular idea of coming together, and that's where I feel the economic peace can happen. With this, I would like all of you to, within 30 seconds, I mean, let's call it a wrap. And if there are any questions from our attendees, you can ask us questions. To the panelists, you can unmute yourself one by one or raise hand as the virtual etiquettes goes. So, and in the meantime, I'll ask each one of you. Dr. Goel could not join us because it's raining heavily there. And his internet connectivity is poor, so maybe we'll have his message later and we'll add it on to our YouTube definitely for that, because I wanted him to be there to share like how yoga can be the way of peace for all of us, and definitely I think all of us believe in that. So
very important.
Yes, I'll start with Chanchalji. Okay, your 30-second views on if it is about are we upskilling enough, so how can we attain global peace in any sense, which
Yeah,
is working,
right. I wanna,
maybe
yeah,
working
I
in
want,
or maybe working in USA, doesn't matter.
yeah, thank you so much, Chetna, for a wonderful session. And what I view, what we work upon is actually one is apology, and another note is thank you note. You know, these two we always teach our children or the whomsoever. But do we ever think that we need to also say sorry and thank you at the end of the day? And that sorry is actually not just a sorry. There are 3 steps in it. I'm sorry. It's my fault. Admit it's my fault. And how can I correct it? This is very, very important, which mostly people forget about it. How to make it correct. And similarly with thank you. Thank you is simply not a word. It's a recognize, just to recognition and then remember and then reciprocate. Very, very important that whenever we have gratitude, then it should come in these 3 R's. And when we tell our children to pay their thank you, they should feel our thank you first. So let's begin with ourselves, because peace also, it lies within. And it's not only resolving the conflict or just starting with happiness. Yes, these are the parts. These are only temporary phases. But the actual thing is, make our children be focused, be calm at the time of all difficulties and adversity. This is what is life skill meant for, and we all are working upon. Today's session, I listened to, I just got spellbound with few of the things which were told by Ma'am Archita, Amrita Ma'am, Sarvardha, and finally, I just forgot the name of Sir last. Please,
Chetan.
please. Yeah,
Chetan ji.
Chetan sir. Yes, yes. How beautifully he put up the last, all what you have asked for unemployment. What are the realities? And if we all learn and tell our children that they are entrepreneurs. If we are teaching them science, make them blooming scientists. Just welcome them in the class by saying, "Oh, good morning, all my blooming scientists. Look at the bloom they have." Same Archita told about the experiential learning. You see, visualization is the best way. If you're starting with a science, social science, English, language, whatsoever, if it belongs to rain, tell them, tip tip barsa pani. Just make them sing. Take them to rain. So this will relate them, and they will be at happiness. They will feel what they are means valuable and involved, and that is what peace is. Whatsoever commotion is happened, but we need to know what we are doing, and we need to be contented within that. That's what my view is.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think we need to start from the small and then it goes on till wherever we want to reach with this piece. Thank you so much. And the next one is Miss Archita. 30 seconds of your time. What do you feel about global peace and peace as a skill or education, or rest in peace versus live in peace? Your thoughts on it?
Yes, it's an oxymoron, that live in peace versus rest in peace. Very truly said. So I would really, from the experience of last 2 years, I would like to highlight gratitude. And we should begin with ourselves. It's me, then myself, then my surroundings, my family, then finally, the circle grows bigger, my neighborhood, my society, and all the people I meet, and finally it transfers to the world. So I would really want you all to think about one thing, that if you have gifted somebody something, and that person, you have seen that person using it, yes, I'm sure you must have felt more glad than receiving that thing for your own self. Yes. So this last 2 years of pandemic has been a gratitude, has been a blessing in disguise, where we have had time to stay with the lot of our family members, maybe even forcibly. But yes, we have had time to explore each other. We have had time to spend more time with our children, and we have actually upskilled our emotional quotient a lot in this last 2 years. Yes, in fact, 1.5 year, and I don't know how long it's going to continue. So the way we have upskilled our emotional quotient so strongly, yes, even in the coming 2 years, as soon as everything reopens, let's ensure that we upskill the social quotient. Yes. uh, just be a Santa in somebody's life. It's not necessary that you have to be with some material. You can be by just lending a good ear, by just sitting beside that person. Another very important thing that I felt is that we all are talking about the same thing. None of us is talking yeah, something diverse. So I think the community, the society actually believes in this thing, but it's not finding ways how it can implement it or how successfully it can work it out. Yes, so that's something very hopeful, that's something very strong, that we are all believing in the same thing. And if we try to grow our chain, yes, if I am able to become a Santa of my thoughts with 10 other more people, then maybe those 10 more can pass on the chain to maybe 20 more. So this becoming a Santa of your thoughts, your feelings, your processes, what you really believe in, boldly and upfrontly, I think that is something that Will is upskilling all about.
Yeah, thank you. I think thank you. You added well to it, and most. I think all of us have some takeaways from everybody's views here. So next, Amrita, to you.
Thank you. In 30 seconds, Mano Moolam Idam Jagat. The mind is the basis of all creation. Training your mind separates the 3% from the rest 97%. Let me substantiate this. Let's look at the world, look at any of our global problems. Let's look at the global perspective, how it comes down to how it breeds at individual level. Terrorism, that breaks peace, right? Terrorism is, of course, a political problem, but then terrorism is also an individual psychological problem which happens when the buttons of fear are pressed. Me Too movement, what was this? An individual making the courage, standing up and speaking, and the entire world speaks. Freedom movement, one person with an idea and everybody follows. Mano Moolam Idam Jagat. Mind is the basis of all creation. Mind is the basis of peace. Thank you.
I will a huge round of applause for from everyone here.
So beautiful,
Yes,
very beautiful.
yes.
Last but not least, Chetan, to you, because I think Mr. Barada has lost the connection. So we'll wrap.
I'm back actually. Can't you see me?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We had a challenge because it's raining here heavily. So we
Yes.
lost, internet connection for a while. Then we got
Don't
it back.
worry. I'll ask. You will be the last one to wrap. So after. So Chetan, over to you.
Thanks, Chetna. So I think we have spoken a lot about the solutions. And now let me just end this beautiful discussion by getting inspiration from Amrita with an amazing Sanskrit mantra, which I remember from my school days. And I'm sure most of you would be aware of that. That goes like Om Sato Ma Sad Gamaya, Tamso Ma Jyotir Gamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let me tell you the meaning of this. Lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from the darkness to the light. Lead me from fear of death to immortality of soul. Knowledge of immortal self beyond death. Let there be peace and peacefulness all around us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think it means, I think
Beautiful.
if anyone is a Kavian here, we have done this a day in and out with our prayers in assemblies. Tamsoma Jyotirgamaya. Yes. Mr. Varda, your 30 seconds wrap up comments.
I'll keep it brief. So taking a lead from Amrita, what she said about self-awareness, I would strongly agree with her on that, where self-discovery is the first step, because we all should agree that we don't know what we don't know. And self-awareness helps us to know more of what we don't know. And that is the first step to do anything next. Because unless we don't know what we don't know, and we hardly move further. So that said, two things that you asked a question: are we upskilling enough? I would say not enough yet. Now it is the need of the hour that we all upskill ourselves, and particularly the educators, to help those wonderful children in the classrooms. Now, two things. One is we must embrace CPD, continuous professional development or continuous education. And another thing that we all must embrace is learn, relearn, unlearn, and relearn. And that's not happening in most cases, but that must happen. I'm a prime example because when I got back from abroad, I had to, unlearn a lot and relearn a lot to adjust myself here. And I remember every bit of that. So it's not easy, but then we have to adapt to that. So, and of course, I must thank all the panelists, wonderful panelists, Archita, Amrita, Chetan, and Chenchal, and of course, you, Chetna. Unfortunately, I missed listening to Dr. Piyush because of the technical glitch, I guess. So, hope to listen to him some other time. Well, thank you very much. It was a wonderful and amazing session. I had my share of learning. Thank you.
I think this is what the purpose of this session was, that we should all learn and upskill ourselves with whatever little pearls of wisdom we all shared. And allow me to say my words.
Yes. We are waiting for, right?
Together from all of you speaking here. So, and I purposely wanted to host this session because I knew each one of you. And I think nobody could have done justice to your expertise. That's why I hosted this particular session. So for me, the takeaway would be evidently the education with the right mix of skills. That's what I feel is the basis for all-round development of man. It is means of developing our personality. That helps makes one life purposeful. Peace, despite a state free from dispute, conflict, and war, is also an active and dynamic state in which there is a call to go forward. It is pathways to progress without any fear or confusion. Therefore, one can state that education and peace are linked to one another. They supplement each other as both contribute to the development and welfare of each and every human being on this planet. With this note, I would like to thank you, each one of you, as our speaker, as collaborators, those who have been there with us discussing, deliberating, brainstorming about this idea, and especially the attendees who took out their precious time for this session and shared their cogent and astute thoughts with all of us, and with the hope that our session has given a new meaning to peace as a skill, as an educational tool, I would say. I wish you a very happy weekend and cheers to the spirit of learning. Thank you so much to all of you. God bless us all, and Om Shanti to everyone. That's what I do. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Prayers
you
and
so much.
blessings.